I'd like to begin this week by saying thank you. I appreciate so very much your expressions of sympathy and condolences at the death of my 98-year-old mother, who lived a good life and has now transitioned to a better life. I would also like to express my deep gratitude for all of your concerns, your thoughts, and your prayers as my wife faces her chemotherapy after undergoing surgery for ovarian cancer. This has been a very difficult time for me, and I appreciate your patience in my postponing appointments and not being as available as I have been. And I appreciate the fact that I felt very supported and loved and lifted up by this presbytery and its members. So thank you. Tomorrow will be a meeting of the presbytery, and one of the things that will happen at the presbytery is we will vote on amendments to the Book of Order. Amendment 10A is the most controversial and the one that folks are most passionate about, for or against. It's the amendment changing the ordination standards for ministers, elders, and deacons within the Presbyterian Church USA. The amendment has already passed enough presbyteries that it will be enacted. But I still feel it's important that folks come and express themselves in our small groups, debate on the floor of presbytery, and then vote. It's important for us to take part in this process, even though 87 presbyteries, the required majority, have already voted to amend the Book of Order to remove the fidelity and chastity in marriage clause and to emphasize the gifts for ministry. I know many of you are pleased about this and many of you are displeased. One of our ministers has said, personally, I'm rejoicing. What officially happened is that Amendment 10A puts the authority back where it belongs, and that's in the congregation for the election of elders and in the presbytery for the election of ministers. And it will be up to then the presbytery in the case of ministers to determine whether they are qualified regardless of sexual orientation. And then there are those, as another minister expressed, who are not at all pleased about this. There are congregations that oppose the change and will continue to abide by its policy of not ordaining open practicing homosexuals to offices within the church or to ordained ministerial positions. As this minister says, not because of any bias against any class of people, but because that's what Scripture teaches. There is indeed a divergence of understanding as to Scripture and the confessions on this matter. Many within the bounds of our presbytery rejoice in the passage of this amendment, believing it to be an expression of inclusion and of justice. Others grieve over the decision because it doesn't appear congruent with their understanding of Scripture. I would encourage us to respect one another and one another's beliefs and consciences as we debate this issue, as we discuss this issue, as we live into this issue. And then I hope that we will move beyond that and begin to concentrate once again on the mission of the church, upon our mission as a presbytery and upon the mission of the local congregations in proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ in word and deed. and learning to live together, agreeing to disagree on this, even as we disagreed on the end of slavery a century ago, or the ordination of women 50 years ago. The important thing is that we show that we are followers of Jesus Christ by our love for one another. One more thing before I leave. Jack Haberer, the editor and publisher of the Presbyterian Outlook, will be our preacher tomorrow at the Presbyterian meeting. I've known Jack for a number of years. When he first knew him, when he was serving in Central Florida Presbytery as pastor of the Trinity Presbyterian Church in Satellite Beach. Jack went from there to Clear Lake Presbyterian Church in Houston, Texas. And during that time, he has been very active in the denomination. He has served as the chair of the Presbyterian Coalition and Presbyterians for Renewal. He has also been a member of the task force on peace, unity, and purity of the church. He has been a calming voice in the midst of the storms surrounding various arguments on social issues that have come before our denomination. He's written a book called God Views. And this book, interestingly enough, has a foreword by Craig Barnes and a foreword by John Buchanan. Two ministers, each with a different position regarding the amendment to the Constitution that we will vote on tomorrow. Jack is a good preacher, a good scholar, a good theologian, and a good man. You will be blessed if you come and worship at Presbytery and hear Jack preach. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow or sometime thereafter. Thank you.